What a mess. So first of all, I have to talk about the cinematography. I think I read somewhere that this was the director's first time doing action films. I can't be bothered to check if that's true or not, but it certainly feels true. I mean, there were certainly pacing issues, but it felt like the camera couldn't stop moving. It was as if they said, okay, we have a boring script, and the best way to make it interesting is to keep the camera moving. But that doesn't work. Hey, why don't you tell them about the zooms? Oh my God, the zooms. Now, it doesn't happen all the time, but specifically in the beginning of the movie, they hit you with the punch zooms. We're gonna run a counter. Let's see.
For years, been helping.
It just looks so bad. I genuinely don't understand the decision there. You'll see punch zooms a lot in like spaceships moving in the sky, or something's really distant and someone's on the ground looking at it, and so it zooms in real hard. But like, why? Why? But if that wasn't jarring enough, the barrel rolls. Oh my God, the rolls. So it's a common thing when you have a character that can stick to the wall or walk on ceilings or whatever. They'll start with the perspective of making you think this character's standing on the ground. Oh, no. Yeah, no, they were on the ceiling all along. We got you. We got you. There's these spider people in Peru in the woods, and they can jump and fly and climb, and it looks awful. Like, I haven't seen anything that bad since Twilight. This movie just came out. They couldn't do better? I'll admit, there's a scene here or there that looks okay. Nothing incredibly impressive. There's some times that Cassie, Madam Web herself, she has her weird premonitions, and they use some camera tricks to make that happen, and it looks cool for some of the scenes. Now, the train scene, for me, was super confusing. And I feel like that was because there was just no standard to how this premonition thing even works. Time travel in itself and like premonitions can be hard to film, and you have to be really creative to pull it off well. This wasn't it. I've had to say one good thing about the editing, the color grading. Color grading's pretty good. Shout out to you color grading people, whoever you were. Good job. Let's talk about action. For a comic book movie, this film has a unique problem to resolve. No one knows how to fight. None of them. So this is your typical case of the average Joe, right? The only person who gains powers is Cassie, and her powers are premonition. They try to make up for it at the end, and she does some not looking at the action sort of moves. I don't know how else to describe it, but yeah, not good. You might be thinking, what about the ladies in the movie? They're all Spider Women. We saw it in the trailer. All that stuff in the trailer happens in a short scene, pretty early in the movie, actually. It's a premonition, so there's a lot of fogginess going on. You got about as much as you were going to get out of it from the trailer. There's not much more to it. Now, the villain is probably as close as you're going to get to some action. He parkours and jumps around, and he never uses spider webs, which I have a sneaking suspicion that somehow Sony's not allowed to use spider webs. That's just a theory. A nerd theory. But yeah, he moves around fast, and it's not really exciting, and the cuts, the edits, it just feels like something from maybe an early 2000s movie. Probably right on par with like Catwoman. And it doesn't help that his costume just looks awful. In my opinion, I feel like all the costumes look awful. So to sum it up, nothing special in the action department. So if the action sucks and the camera work sucks, do they at least make up for it with the story? Well, no, they don't. Cassie is about as unlikable as they come. I didn't actually feel like I was rooting for her pretty much at any point. I mean, maybe you root for her to save the 3 girls, but even then, like, I don't care. They're pretty much just as unlikable. I mean, they try to shoehorn some backstories for them, make you feel sorry for them. They're practically orphaned, which is the spider hero theme, I guess. I don't know, there's just no redeeming factors to them. You know, so again, spoilers, I guess, but you get Ben Parker in the movie, and he's okay. It's the best friend character, and it could have literally been anyone. There's nothing about him that necessarily screams Ben Parker. He's fine in the scenes he's with Cassie. He's fine. Definitely feels like he was just an afterthought. Does it feel like it fits the Spider-Man lore? No, not really. I feel like if anything, it undoes a lot of what we've been building up to between the Sonyverse and Marvel's take on it, which, just to clarify, if you don't know, this is a Sony Pictures film, not Marvel Studios, not MCU. Multiverse, separate, Venom, Morbius, and the upcoming Kraven, different entity. Which brings an interesting question, actually, that I hadn't considered. Is it better than Morbius? That's a tough one. Now, I really did not like Morbius, but if you need a breakdown of that film, tell me in the comments below. I will do it if you want it. Otherwise, I watched that movie once. I'm good. Come to think of it, they are pretty similar, right? Going off to a jungle in some random country to observe some animal with healing properties. It accidentally gives you superpowers, and then there's a villain who's jealous of those powers and then wants them for themselves. Huh. Okay, so going into my notes here, I actually pretty much sum up the film. So if you want that summary, there's a cult of spider people. There's magic spiders. The spiders give powers when they bite. Cassie has powers that waited for her to be in her 30s to emerge. The girls will have powers, but don't yet. The bad guy wants to kill them before they kill him because of a premonition he somehow had. It's a good point. I don't think he has other premonitions, but then he does some talking to Cassie in her mind thing. They defeat the bad guy, Cassie goes blind, practically adopts the girls, which seems like a mutual benefit, and that's it. See, I really don't think it takes 2 hours to tell that story. That's honestly probably my biggest gripe with the film. It's too long. I spent so much of the film just bored. And to me, that is the most offensive thing that any film can do, is be boring. Now there's a bunch of things that I'm not going to cover in this video because honestly it's been covered in a lot of other videos. I wanted to focus on things I hadn't heard people really talk about for the most part, but just to gloss over them real quick. Yes, the villain has awful dubbing. I keep calling him the villain because I have no idea what his name is. They practically overdubbed every scene he's in, and not to mention Dakota Johnson she phones it in. She really does. Made especially apparent when you watch any of the press tours she did, any interview. Again, there's a ton of videos that go into detail way better than I can. Honest Trailers has a really good video, pitch meeting, how it should have ended. Check those out because they really nail the other reasons why this movie is so bad. But I'll leave it with this. Sony, with great responsibility comes great power. The power to create a good movie. Oh. Yeah, he said it like that because that's how they say it in the movie. What he said. But please, stop. Stop just throwing these movies out at us. We don't want them. Give us what we do want. Get ready for that Kraven movie. No, not that Kraven movie. You don't know what we really want? Okay, I'll make it real simple. We want you to stop. Stop making Spider-Man adjacent Spider-Man movies. Well, except for the Spider-Verse. Keep that going. But these live-action Spider-Man movies just have to stop because the main problem with all these movies, they might have worked, but there's no Spider-Man. Get one of the three. Toby, Andrew, Tom, I don't care. Hell, cast a new Spider-Man. Give us a Miles movie. Throw him in there. Gwen Stacy. Get us a Ghost Spider. Just get us a protagonist, please. And if it's in the works and I'm eating my words later on, fantastic. I'll be happy. But I tell you what, being here right now in the middle of this wait, it feels like a waste of time. A movie shouldn't feel like a waste of time. Do you have anything else to say? Actually, now that you mentioned it, fantastic. See you in the next video. Got me all worked up and stuff. It's my boy, Spider-Man.